Hey, you there. Yeah, you. Um, Thanks for making eye contact. Have you ever read The King of Spies? Here, let me tell you all about it. The King of Spies is a comic book by Mark Millar, known for the Kick-Ass series, drawn by Matteo Scalera. And it's about the world's greatest secret agent. I won't go too into it now. We'll tackle that. I want to preface this by saying this comic, I read the first couple of pages of the first issue and then I put it down. And it took about a week for me to be like, all right, Manaya, get through it. You're not going to like it, but just get through it, okay? That was my initial thing because it's so over the top. However, um, Mark Millar is a great writer. And he throws that little sucker punch in right after all the crazy stuff at the start, and actually hooked me. So I'm going to review it and talk about it, and we'll go from there. So the King of Spies is about the world's greatest assassin, secret agent character, and the comic book begins in quite a crazy way. So the book starts with Roland King, who's our main character. He's the secret agent assassin character, and he's blasting his way through a bunch of soldiers before leaping off the roof of a building, blasting even more soldiers on the way down, and then crash landing into a freaking ambulance. And that's not all. He then delivers the baby in the ambulance, takes an oxygen tank from the ambulance, and then turns it into a missile launcher and blows up a bunch of more evil bad dude terrorist guys. You know, average day sort of stuff. Now, as crazy as this sounds, this is where the book lost me and I actually put it down for a little bit. You see, I'm not a huge fan of the, like, over the top ridiculous action set pieces that some of you probably are. It's just not my style. 13-year-old me would have been all over this. Like, I would have been reading this over and over and over again. But old boomer me, nah. However, as I said in the intro, Mark Millar does this terrific job of writing, and it's not until a scene a little bit later in the issue where we sort of are revealed to a more human side of Roland. See, the book jumps forward a number of years to a now like 60-ish year old Roland, and he's retired from the industry and he's just sort of going through his life. And that part actually really grabbed me back in, and I was like, all right, well, I've got to finish this now because I'm invested in the character. So you see, it turns out Roland has a terminal illness, and he's only got about 6 months left to live, and he finds this out in the first issue. And because of this, it sort of forces him to reflect on himself and the things that he's done. And it's a really good contrast from what we see in the opening issues of him flying about doing all this crazy stuff. And then seeing sort of like the more humble old man version of Roland, who's reflecting in on himself and knows he's only got, 6 months left to live. But that doesn't really, affect Roland too much. He has his big moment of weakness, and you really do feel for him. At least I did. But Roland King is Roland King. So Roland does a little bit of inner thinking, and after an incident at a nightclub where he just murders a bunch of people for being rude and non-gentlemanlike, he decides, screw it. I got 6 months to live, and that's the perfect amount of time for one last op. Roland then makes it his final mission to go and right all the wrongs and try and fix the world. So what we get is a 4-part comic book series about Roland King with this hyper crazy style to it. Stylistically murdering all of these people from, celebrities to political figures to religious figures and everyone in between. It really doesn't hesitate pulling punches for the most part. The set pieces are insane. The art is through the roof. If you're into the wacky, over the top combat, it's everywhere. Like, that's what this book is. All the characters are fantastic, and you can read this thing in about 45 minutes. And as much as I thought I was going to dislike it based on the first couple of issues, it brought back that childish, immature, fun-loving side of me. And for that reason, I highly recommend The King of Spies by Mark Millar. You can read the first chapter for free over on imagecomics.com. I will link that down below. And if this is something that you're interested in, as I said, it's only 4 issues long, so go and pick up a copy. You won't regret it. It's really good. Now, if you like what I'm doing and you want to know more about good comic books and other pop culture things, like, subscribe, comment, call me a loser down below. Whatever you want, I'm here for it.